Morning, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. We're coming to you live here from Gen Con 2019, bringing you all the board game coverage all week long. As usual, I'm Matt.
I'm Josh.
And this is our first impression session of our Spotlight stream. So this is a special Spotlight stream for a couple of reasons here.
Yeah.
First and foremost is this is a live Spotlight from a convention. So we're live here
From
at
Gen Con.
From the convention.
2019.
There you go.
Can you give us the Gen Con voice in the sky?
Attention Gen Con attendees, thank you for watching Twist Gaming. That's insane. So on top of that too, we had a three-peat spotlight from Steve Jackson Games. So we showed off 3 of their smaller games in their
We
catalog.
showed off 3 of the small games, so it was about the spotlight was an hour and a half.
About standard time. It's
Standard
just
time.
that we
Just
hit
we
3
showed-
games instead of just one. So tonight we showed off Deadly Doodles, we showed off Z-Shot, and we showed off Zombie Dice. So we're going to be talking about them in that order. But before we go any further, I would like to say big thank you to Steve Jackson Games for sponsoring this stream and all of this week's streams here at Gen Con 2019.
Other cool thing was Steve Jackson actually came and played all the games with us.
Yeah, like
which
which
is really cool.
I made the really bad joke of, oh, it's a really great that you happen to find a job at a game company that has the same name as you.
You did. Matt went there.
I had to make that joke. All right.
Let's talk about the first game that came up, which was Deadly Doodles.
So Deadly Doodles
which is a
draw and draw.
draw and draw, or it's in the roll and write family. It's the same.
It's a roll and write. But so you're drawing a card.
You're drawing cards and stuff. Like
Well, you're
Welcome
drawing-
to is you're drawing cards
Yeah.
and you're drawing. So, but it's in that roll and write kind of
Family.
of games.
So in this game, you are exploring a dungeon, and you're trying to collect loot, which is like little treasure purses on the map. You're trying to defeat baddies. So there's monsters and there's weapons on the map that have corresponding letters to them, and
you
you're
need to
trying
get the right letter.
collecting the letter for the weapon and then killing the monster. You get points for just getting the weapon too, so that's always a good
Nybar
thing.
saying it's a draw and draw. Good sirs.
Yeah. And then finally, you can run into the dragon, which is going to double all of your loot that you get.
Dragons of loot.
Yeah, and then also there's traps. Dungeon crawl has to have traps.
Yep.
So the traps, you're placing traps on your board, which obviously you can't run through.
Yeah.
But if anyone else runs through that trap location on their boards, they're going to get negative points.
But if 2 people draw a trap in the same location,
They cancel out.
Cancel out, which is cool.
So you want to be strategic in where you're putting your traps. So we did a playthrough of that. You draw 4 cards, and there's basically path orientations that you have to put, and you
Kinda
put all
like
of them
Pipe
on the
Dream,
map.
the old PC game.
Yeah.
I kind of went back in my. That was like one of my favorite games as a little kid. And you're just trying to draw these little lines on there and get to hit all the stuff you want to hit.
Yeah. So first part of the first impression, we're going to talk about our favorite aspects of the game. So I'm going to toss it to Josh. So
Alright.
you're up first.
So all these games are really light. So I'm gonna like. It was a fun. I liked Pipe Dream, and it reminds me a lot of that, and it had kind of a cool collection set, and I liked how they laid out the board because it kept really easy. At first, I was like, "Oh, which monsters do it? Which one?" I'm like, "Oh, there's a little checkbox list on the bottom." and
Yeah, I
could,
should have used that.
I used that throughout the game. And I was like, "Oh, I need this, this, and this," and it sorted me out a lot. But no, it's a nice light game. It's super easy to learn, like teach and learn.
Yeah, super simple.
Like you learn the game on turn 1. Like if you don't understand the game, then
Yeah.
you're never gonna play the game.
Yeah.
But it's super light. It's kind of the infinite expandable besides the trap.
Yeah, and they said that it's like a house rule. You can just remove the trap cards there,
Or do
or you
something.
can house rule in a different way in order to do a more people version of the game. Because typically the game is 1 to 6 players.
And the other cool thing is they have I don't know how many come in the game itself, but they have other maps.
Yeah.
And we played on like the easiest map. I would really like to play some of the
More
more difficult
ones,
maps where you have some harder times getting to it, and you have to kind of be a little bit more strategic with how you use things. But no, it's a for what it was, what the game was trying to do. I liked how it did it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I mean, the game is meant to be kind of a lighter game. I wouldn't necessarily call it filler, maybe filler. It's
It's
kind
a
of
short
fringe.
game.
Yeah, it's a short game, and I know roll and writes and the ilk are all the rage
Yeah.
right now. So I can definitely see why it was released, and I did enjoy it, and it captures a little bit of that fantasy feel, the dungeon crawl feel to it, capturing loot, defeating monsters, and I like the way that they did the defeating monsters thing too.
A little fun thing was they had the little the monsters. I'm sad the monsters didn't have that.
Yeah.
That's one of my cons. The monsters didn't have a name. Not like they needed individual names.
What
like,
kind of monster
but
it was?
like what kind of monster was it? They didn't need to be stabby, shooty, and
Screamy.
and whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be vast like that, but like so they had the little hairy guy on the top.
You drew a helmet on him.
I know. I gave him a little like
an Elvis curl?
Elvis curl and everything, and set him up just because it was fun.
Oh boy. So moving into the constructive criticism portion. So if there's anything that, based on our first playthrough of this game, we would change, this is what we talk about here. But it is the caveat of this is the first time we've played the game. Obviously, we are not experts by any means. But I'm gonna go first on this one, and I get why they did it. It's a whiteboard and it's Doodles, so it's black and white.
Yeah.
I kind of wish there was more color on everything. It just seemed a little flat to me.
I can see that.
And that's really my only major complaint with the game. I like the way that the symbols worked. I like, or the cards, and the fact that you have a couple that you burn, so you're not necessarily going through the entire deck every time. I like the set rounds, all of that. I think the game played well. I think maybe, or the other thing is, the weapons were specific to the monsters, which I like that. I thought that was an interesting puzzle mechanic there. Yeah. Making it symbols instead of numbers or something like that, I think I would have liked more. It seemed a little...
Like different style, like not always an axe, like a sword and a shield.
Right, so there's the axe monster and you have to get an axe. There's a sword monster, you have to get a sword, something to that effect. I think that would have brought a little bit nicer aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
And because the letters just seemed partially out of place. I don't know if... I don't want to be like too hard on it. I know why they did it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that I would have liked to see variable player boards with a slightly different setup. Would have been nice.
Well, variable player boards would have been problematic with the trap.
I think you maybe just change the letters around on stuff, or just do something like that. Like everything's still in the same places. It's just your A is not here.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It gets a little more complicated.
It gets a little more complicated, but like it's still there. But no, it was interesting. Well, that was like besides the monster, that's my biggest complaint.
You want the monster name?
I want a monster name.
Alrighty, so then going into the constructive would you play this game again?
Yeah.
And I think pretty straightforward. I would definitely play this game again.
It's a nice game.
It fills its niche very well.
I could and like we don't have Anne here to like get her side of it. I think like it's definitely something like I would play with her kids easily.
Yeah, I think this is a very family friendly game. It doesn't have to be all monsters either. Could be handcuffed townsfolk and key to the hand. That's actually very true. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, so it would have been cool to see something. So yeah, I think it's light enough, especially for like entry gamers and stuff like that. To kind of, it's a good gateway game to roll and raids.
Yeah,
because trying to go into like Welcome 2.
Yeah, that's it. I know a lot of people that have problems picking up Welcome 2 the first time if they're not gamers to begin with.
Yes.
Going back to things I liked about the game, whiteboards and markers. I thought that was really great, so you don't have to deal with having a pad that consistently is running out and you have to go and order more. Thought that was neat.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Deadly Doodles. So now we're going to shift gears and start talking about Z-Shot, which is the second game that we had that we played with them. So Z-Shot is dice drafting.
It's a dice drafting game, and you're just trying to get. It's whoever gets
specific numbers 1 through 12. You have to get the number exactly, spend the dice, and then you cross it off on your sheet.
You use multiple dice to do it.
Yeah, and then first person to cross off all of their numbers, they win.
Wins.
Yeah. So, themed to zombies, you got little zombie heads on it with crosshairs, and you got bullets in it, so you're killing zombies.
It's just a basic dice drafting game.
Yeah. So, favorite aspects of the game?
It was. This is one I didn't care much about, so I'm just gonna say that now. So it was a nice shorter game. I know it's the final question. I probably wouldn't pick it up.
Fair enough.
It was fine. It was just a dice draft game. It was a very filler game.
Yeah.
Not my cup of tea. So
yeah.
I like. It was both positive and negative. I thought the bullet dice were really cool. Kind of like thematic.
I am going to say the exact same thing.
They're really cool thematic. I wish they printed numbers on them and not dots because they were impossible to read.
Especially from a distance.
Especially when and the 5 and 6s were like...
They were very close.
1, 2, and 3 were
fine.
Okay.
My other complaint about the bullet-shaped dice as well is didn't like settle on faces very nicely sometimes.
We had to bang the table a few
Yeah,
times.
so that's the problem with cylindrical dice.
Yeah.
So the fact that it was a cylindrical dice instead of a cubical die, then that's the problem you run into with that. So
Like, I was fine with that part. It was just like it was a little hard to read.
Yeah.
And we all had issues with it.
yeah, they could have made them thicker bullets than kind of more short, chubby ones.
So what did you think of the game?
I actually liked it. I like it's thinkier than the third game we played, which was Zombie Dice. And I prefer that aspect of it, kind of like trying to see what options would be left after everyone's gone, realizing what you're gonna wind up with, making sure you're utilizing everything efficiently. I actually like that that thought process.
I could see that. For me, it's just kind of barely thinky, and like it's not enough.
Fair enough.
To like scratch like that little bit of an itch.
Yeah, so it's for me it's like a filler thinky game. So that way it's like I'm not gonna sit there and like do math in my head. It's just I'm taking a few seconds here and there. It's not a game that I can play completely absentmindedly.
Yeah.
So that's what I enjoyed about it. Constructive criticism, we talked a little bit about that with the shape of the bullets and the printing of the bullets themselves. Not much else to the game.
It was a very simple filler game. You know what I see that game good for?
What?
Little kids, and
Maybe not thematically.
not thematically, but like basic addition and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I think that's kind of a cool like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How do you
to-
get to this number? What numbers add up to this number? I could see that being a very good
like,
learning
kinda
tool.
cool like that.
Would you play this game again? You said probably not for you.
Probably not. Like if I knew someone that like I want to play this game, I'm not gonna say no. I'm never gonna play that. But like
You wouldn't pull it off the shelf first.
I wouldn't pull this off the like I wouldn't go buy it or anything. But
Honestly, I'm going to say yes. I enjoyed it. I think that it would be a good game to, like, it's travel sized enough that you could bring it with you and get in a game at a bar or something while you're waiting for a drink or something to that effect. So, I mean, I liked it. I like the thinky aspect of it. I just kind of wish it didn't require a pen, but, that's say la vie, really.
yeah.
So moving on to game number 3. Game number 3 was Zombie Dice. So this game it's a press your luck dice game.
Press your luck.
Where you're rolling 3 dice of varying weights, and you are the zombie this time around.
Yeah, we're trying to eat brains.
Trying to eat brains. So there's 3 symbols on the dice. There's brains, there's feet, so that's running away, or it's footprints running away, and then there's the shotgun blast, which is where you're getting kapowed.
Blown off.
Yeah, exactly. So 3 strikes, you're out. So when you roll 3 of the shotgun blasts, you are dead and you don't get to collect anything. At any point in time, you can stop and collect however many brains you have eaten, you have banked up.
Whenever you're done with a roll.
Whenever you're done with the roll, correct.
Is when you stop, not at any point.
Then you could collect the brains that you've already collected, and then the footprint just means those are the dice you have to re-roll.
Yep.
I said varying weights. There's ones that are more brain heavy. The yellow ones, which are the centered ones, are
average. They got 2
completely
of each.
even. And then the red, which is danger dice, they're going to be shotgun blast heavy.
Yeah, they're shotgun blast heavy.
There's different quantities as well, so that plays into some of your press your luck decisions. And then first person to 13 brains ends the round. After the round is over, whoever has the most brains consumed wins. So you can technically end the game and lose still.
Yeah.
So
which is a cool aspect.
Whereas Z-Shot was first person to clear their board wins.
No catch up.
Yeah. So favorite aspects of the game, I like the fact that there's different weights and different quantities of the dice to give it a little bit more thought from that. The dice are printed very clearly. There's no color blind assist on there. I don't know if that was helpful for you
The
at
yellow
all.
and green are a little hard for me to tell. But it's you really worry about the red dice.
Yeah.
Like I never go, oh,
Yellow die.
I have a yellow die and I have that. No, it's more like I have a red die. I'm gonna worry about that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter too much.
Meanwhile, I rolled all my shotgun blasts on the darn green dice anyways, so.
You're just special.
Yeah. So how about you? Favorite aspects of the game?
This is one of the more filler games that I like. It's quick. It's easy. It's kind of brain like. I don't want to say brain, but like
No, you
don't
collect the brains.
collect the brains. But like you don't have to put any thought really into it. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I have this many shot. Like, yes or no? Am I gonna? Do you want to push your luck or not?
Yeah.
And you do it.
You can play it a lot more absent-mindedly than Z-Shot.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's a fun, very filler game.
Yeah. So going into the constructive criticisms portion of it, perhaps a way for differentiation of the dice themselves. I don't know if it's necessarily a big deal in the grand scheme of things.
The yellow and green aren't the best two colors to use, but that's like the biggest. But it's a really simple game. Like there's nothing. It's a good game. It's been around forever.
So
it's a good seller. So.
I know that this is the new edition of it that's got the bag instead of the cup. My hand's actually a little bit too big to fit into the bag all the way, so I was using my fingers to kind of pluck the dice out, which is kind of annoying.
Because you have fat hands.
I do have fat hands. I've got big fat hands, so I think I'd prefer there to be a cup or a wider mouth bag that I can shove my sausage fingers into. How about you?
I don't remember having any issues with the bag. The cup's a little easier to kind of jiggle around.
I'm in constructive criticism, but you know.
But no, it's a really simple, just intro game. I think that edition comes with like some other advanced rules. Like we played base game.
Yeah, so there's a couple other dice that we didn't play with that Steve picked up and put back in the box. So I think there was 3 other normal dice and 1 mega dice or something like that.
There was a color die. There was a Santa die.
Yeah.
I don't know if these are the names of the dice.
That's
just what Steve called
Yeah.
them. It might just be because what colors they were. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I haven't played the full edition. But no, yeah, it's a simple, pretty fun game.
Most important question of the evening: would you play this game again?
Yeah, I play Zombie Dice again.
I think I'm in the same boat as you were on Z-Shot.
Yeah.
So I don't like how it's kind of, you don't have to think quite as much. I'd prefer a little bit more thinky in the game. And I have a really rough. I'm not a huge fan of press your luck games because I don't know when to stop. That's my biggest problem.
You guys go big or go home.
Yeah, exactly. And I wind up. I always find myself in that position of I'm playing catch up.
Yeah, but like the fun thing with the press your luck games is like when you do the go big or go home, then you have those moments.
Right. And
You're
that's the nice thing. But I find myself more frustrated than not.
And that's probably why I like those games a little more because you just have those fun little moments every now and then.
Yeah. Like when Randy rolled 8 brains on his turn.
All the brains.
Yeah, he completely obliterated us. But yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't say no to playing it again. It wouldn't be my first choice. Yeah, no. So with that, that's all of the games that Steve Jackson from Steve Jackson Games brought to show off to us. I like saying that.
All the games that Steve Jackson from Steve Jackson Games brought us.
Yeah.
So
that's going to conclude our first impression session here. If you haven't had a chance, definitely go back on video on demand and watch our spotlight of all of the games from Steve Jackson Games. Yeah. And with that, we'd like to do one more final thank you for Steve Jackson Games for sponsoring this stream and all of this week's streams here at Gen Con 2019. Signing off for now, though, I'm Matt.
I'm Josh.
Have a good one, everyone.
Bye-bye.